Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody is doing well. This video is going to be a political video from my own autistic disabled perspective. I didn't think I would have to do another one of these kind of videos, but as the UK current situation is ongoing with the battle of Prime Minister leadership between Rishi Sunak and Bojo-backed Boris, which I'm very, very unhappy about. I don't agree either of them should be in the Prime Minister leadership race. I think that basically we are in a mess. The UK country is suffering. But as an autistic person, I am worried about how disabled people are now going to be supported, because Liz Truss did promise to help the most vulnerable and the disabled with her new policies, and obviously now that she has been the shortest Prime Minister on record, 46 days in office after Boris resigning, and now she's resigned, and now we have a leadership race between Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson, which to me sounds a bit like a setup. I think this has been pre-planned. I think it was something that was done behind closed doors. I think Boris knew he was back in the running. I think he deliberately planned to go away and then come back, and now all of a sudden we've got Rishi Sunak versus Boris Johnson for the UK Prime Minister leadership. So, what am I going to talk about in this video? Today I'm going to talk about my own political interests and my own disabled, authentic, autistic experiences. As someone who has voted over the years constantly since she was 16, I think it's important to give my own perspective. During this recent political times, we found the UK has been struggling, especially with now the resignation of Liz Truss, and now we've got another leadership race between Rishi Sunak, Penny Mordaunt and Bojo Boris. And as a disabled person, this really does worry me, because, you know, we are someone who get often ignored or spoken over, or don't get our voices to advocate for ourselves. So how do I feel the UK is going to affect disabled people? Well, to be honest with you, I think disabled people have often been ignored, over-talked, overshadowed, and it's about time that this changes. Since this trust did these policies for disabled people, saying that we've been the most supported, the most helped, the most backed up people because of the policies with the cost of living payments, the winter fuel payment, etc. And now that she's gone out of office, I really feel disabled people are now going to be left in the lurch, left to struggle, and are going to be left with bills high that they can't pay, and that really does upset me as an autistic disabled person. This is something that I am extremely worried about, because now we have the leadership race of two people who have refused to give statements for people with disabilities. Rishi Sunak has refused to equal benefits out. Boris wouldn't even admit to helping disabled people or wanting to help disabled people during this winter. This winter is going to be the hardest thing for disabled people such as myself with autism or associated mental health conditions. I also have anxiety disorder. So again, I am already panicking about how the future is looking for people like myself who are non-verbal or who aren't able to communicate as fluently and verbally as I can right now on this video. And I feel this trust, I'm going to call you out, because you failed to support anybody on the disabled spectrum, whether it's autism, epilepsy, learning disabilities, mental health. I just feel you've really, really let us down, and to be honest, that really upsets me, because you didn't even try to support us. You didn't even try to put policies into place to protect us and to help us. And to me, that just shows you haven't cared, you haven't listened to all the disabled supports that you got to get into office. And now that I'm knowing that potentially, you know, that you're letting Boris Johnson back in here, and Rishi Sunak, to be honest, I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw the guy. I don't think he's going to do any good for the UK whatsoever. I think we're going to be higher in debt. We're going to be worse off as a disabled community. I don't think that we are going to have an easy time of it. I think this is going to make a lot of things worse, a lot more stressful for disabled people and people with mental health issues who live alone, independently, who don't have a place to be supported or relatives to support them in the long term through this winter and into next year. And I feel that this has been done to cause extreme stress and anxiety for a lot of people. And what are you going to do to support us, Boris? Rishi, Penny, like, what are you doing to support disabled people? Tell me. What are you doing to make things better for us? What are you doing to help us, support us, make sure that we have our voices heard and we're not ignored all over again? Because what did Liz Truss do? She did nothing. She did nothing to support us. She did nothing to protect us. She did nothing to help us out in the time of austerity that we're now in, and the most depression time that we're in. We're in the biggest recession we've had in history, and it's just ridiculous. This is just so ridiculous. Like, now we're having two people who don't care about disabled people. It's been pretty much noted, Boris's record on the subject, and it just makes me extremely worried. And like this trust says, we are absolutely focused on making sure the most vulnerable in our society are protected from what could be the most challenging time in our history. What challenge was that, Liz Truss? What challenge are we facing that we're not going to be able to cope with? What challenge is going to affect us so bad that you think that we can't cope? We cope with much worse over the years, and now I am worried what that challenge is, what we are going to be going through. I know it's to do with, obviously, the heating and eating situation. I know it's to do with the new Prime Ministership. I know it's to do with how disabled people are often overlooked and ignored within society. What do we need to be protected from? Do we need to be protected from your policies that don't work? Do we need to be protected from your legislation that isn't accurate? Your legislation that isn't authorised? Your legislation that doesn't protect people who are the most vulnerable? Your legislation that doesn't make any goddamn fucking sense whatsoever? Your legislations are useless. You are not protecting the most vulnerable. You're not helping people with autism, disabilities, mental health issues. What are you doing? You are doing things that you say protect people like me. You are doing things that you say will help people like me. Where is the proof? Where is the action? Have you got disabled people like myself involved who would actually sit with you, talk to you, work with you, actually liaise with you and make our lives better? Because you are taking things into your own hands because you think, oh, we know best for disabled people. No, you don't. You clearly don't. There's been issues of autistic people being locked in mental health units. People with learning disabilities being locked in mental health units for over 20 years. Like, you have no idea the best way to treat us and give us the appropriate rights and support that we need for our medical care, dental care, physical care, therapies, etc. You don't know nothing. So to say, oh, we're going to protect the most vulnerable, we're going to help you so you don't struggle. I've seen nothing to back this up. I've absolutely heard nothing to back this up. I'm sick of having to call politicians out for what it is. Bullshit. Lies. It's, you don't care. You don't know what it's like for people like myself to go through this every day. The struggle is the same. Every day it's the same struggle, sensory overload, depression, anxiety, panic. You don't know what it's like for me every day to have to face getting up thinking, oh great, we've got a new Prime Minister. Oh no, she's now gone. Oh no, we've now got another political race. You don't know what it's like for our stress or our anxiety. You don't know what it's like to go through panic and thinking, oh, is my rights going to be taken away? Am I going to have my benefits stripped from me? Am I going to be ignored again? Am I going to be voiceless again? Am I going to be totally overspoken because disabled people don't matter to you? Wake up, politicians. Start listening to your disabled constituents. We matter. We need a voice. We need an advocate. We need someone who believes in us and actually will back us up when it comes to action. I am actually quite blessed and lucky that my hometown MP, Tom Hunt, shout out to Tom Hunt, does actually understand the struggles of people with autism and disabilities and mental health issues. He does actually communicate with me on a fairly regular basis. Without him, my hometown would be screwed. Like, my hometown is suffering, and to know that now we have to face yet again another election, again another power play, yet again another hustings, yet again another legislation, another change of leadership, another meeting with the King, another meeting in the House of Commons and the House of Lords. It's freaking ridiculous. This is so stupid. Like, why couldn't Liz Truss tried a bit harder? Why couldn't she try to stick it out? I know she had a lot of stupid things she done. I know her Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, overspoken and trashed a lot of her policies. I knew she had no choice but to go. But again, she has affected so many people by this lack of action and lack of support. People like me now are going to struggle a lot more than what we were. And I panic for how the future is going to work. And to be honest, I am scared. I am extremely fucking scared and anxious what I'm going to be dealing with, because I don't know what Rishi's plan is for disabled people. I don't know what Boris's plan is going to be in their agendas. I don't know if they're going to help people like myself speak up more, be respected, be valued, be listened to. And I don't know. I'm very, very unsure right now. I'm very anxious. I'm not very happy about the change in circumstances. I think this was pre-planned. I think this was done deliberately. And again, every time the UK changes and every time we have a change of leadership, it just seems to be the same old thing. Oh, it's about Ukraine, it's about the war, it's about power play, it's about people getting what they want, the position of power, the office of power, the responsibility, the rights to do things. And enough is enough. Like, seriously, like, Prime Minister is a serious position, people. You are there to serve the country. You're there to serve your people. You're there to make the difference for us every day, to make sure that our rights, our advocacy, our needs, our mental health are accessed, and that we get the right and fair and support treatment that we so deserve as disabled people. Because again, disabled people like myself are often ignored or talked above or treated like a child because, oh, they don't know what they're on about. They don't understand. Stop patronising disabled people. Do you realize how ignorant you sound? Like, you have no idea of the struggles that people like me face every single day. Getting up, needing the same routine, the same structure, having to have a visual routine, having to have a sensory routine, all the stimulus of all this constant news and barragement of hate and campaigning and mixed messaging and everything else. Do you realise how much stress physically, mentally and emotionally you're putting on your disabled constituents? Enough is enough. Please, I beg you, I ask you, Boris, Rishi, Penny, anyone who's running for this leadership race, please have someone in the office that helps disabled people and people with mental health issues. Please make sure we get our voices heard. Please make sure we're involved in political legislation documentation. Please make sure that we're invited to the House of Commons or House of Lords when it comes to Mental Health Awareness Week, Autism Awareness Week, Mental Health Awareness Month. Like, make sure that we're involved in our treatment and our care, in our rights, because enough is enough. You guys only know so much because of, you know, NHS professionals and stuff like that, but you don't know what it's like for people like me who have to sit here and call out the stuff that I have to do. Make sure that people like me are heard, I understand. And the last thing I'm going to say on this video is, I don't think Rishi Sunak or Boris are fit enough to be Prime Minister. I believe we need a whole new government. I believe we need a whole new plan, because to be honest with you, the UK is screwed. I believe that disabled people are now going to have a worse future than what we already have. And please let me know what you think down below. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching and listening. Bye.